Hi, I'm Morgan Hines in the Phocuswire studio, and I'm here with Gulce Rozenveld from Oojo. Welcome, Gulce. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So let's talk a little bit to start about your company. You're with the online travel agency Oojo, and that's part of Trevolution. Can you give us a little bit of an explanation on how that fits into Dinino?
Yeah. So Dinino is a group of companies which we have 3 divisions. It's a really big group. We have fintech, entertainment tech, and travel division. Travel division is called Trevolution, and it's the biggest division, and it's been there for over 20 years. It all started as actually a flight tickets agency 20 years ago, and since then it's been a conglomerate of brands, mostly focused on call-to-book brands. So we have ASAP tickets, we have Skylux for luxury business travel, and we have newly Vagamo. And these are more on, you get on the phone, you call an agent, and you get superb service. So the group needed an online venture, an online division. And that's where Oojo came into picture 4 years ago. And we're the OTA, we're the online new child of the group and growing rapidly.
Okay, very cool. Can you share a little bit more about Oojo and how it works?
Well, Oojo is a prize fighter brand. And we are primarily and only actually focused on selling flight tickets, and we're very strong in international flight tickets. And basically, we're a very typical flight OTA where you get you can search for flights and you get great deals, you get them all listed, and you can thoroughly book them online. And we have also great service that comes from our group background, because we're so used to being on the phone with customers. On top of the typical online travel agencies who are price fighters and really only focusing on price and trying to put the cost down in every corner, we don't put the cost down on customer service. That's our group's strength. So we're like a very typical price fighter OTA that has really great service.
Got it. So a human touch is really important.
It's important.
That makes a lot of sense. So how are you raising awareness about Oojo and the services that your company provides?
We actually are growing with our very competitive content naturally, because as you know, customers love to search online. They love to benchmark, and we have really big channel partners, such as Kayak is one of them. And through that competitive content there, we're growing naturally, and customers really like our interactions. After a customer buys a ticket from us, we give them courtesy calls, we check upon them before they fly, after they fly. So we have a lot of returning customers as well. Once they buy something from us, people tend to we have a very high NPS score, 60, and where the industry average is 35. So we're naturally growing, and we're actually not spending that much on marketing, honestly.
So as you continue to grow, and you've mentioned that you're focused on this kind of human touch and customer service, how much will AI play into your business model going forward?
I think it will play into a lot. And I'm very open to it. I'm very excited about it. I just don't know in which ways. I think it will be in many ways. That will be servicing. That will be search. It will go into every section of human interaction while traveling. And service is one of them. And I'm very excited to embrace it. I think it's going to be super capable very soon. And we're open for our agents to work with AI, couple with AI, and eventually get AI colleagues.
Wow. So I want to change gears a little bit now. That all sounds great, and I want to dive more into that eventually. But you've recently penned a really interesting op-ed for PhocusWire on the concept of the all-in-one travel service. Can you expand a little bit on what you think about that?
I think focus is a sheer force on its own. Let's be honest. Focus organizations get great things done. And what I noticed in the last 10 years in our industry, there was this hype of one-stop shop, connected trip. Everyone called it something else. But trying to become the one platform that people go for all their travel needs, and they'll get the best of everything there. It's easier said than done.
Right.
It is hotel, flight, transportation, tours and trips. We're under the umbrella of travel industry, but these are completely different operating models, business networks, completely different sub-industries.
Right.
So it's not that straightforward to just get them all done and be the superb on all of them, and the customers will trust you A to Z without benchmarking and checking somewhere else.
So one of the things you talked about was how kind of these different sectors are completely different lines of business and that they're fundamentally different.
Yeah.
Do you ever see a place where they could combine, or to you is that just not feasible?
I think it could be done, but it just requires so much resources, so much investment, and a different type of, very specific type of reorganization where you need to become a big holding that will have these separate business units. They're independent on their own and operating in that industry's business operations. So it takes a lot of time, effort, and resources. And how many companies have this in our industry? I can only maybe name 3. And that's why I think it's a hype. A lot of companies want to do it, but realistically, there are 2-3 companies can do it, and it will take them still a lot of time.
So are those differences kind of the root of the problem as to why you think that end-to-end travel booking hasn't happened yet, or is there something more to it?
I think that's the biggest difference is the root of this, but also the consumer behavior is, I think they're not researching the consumer behavior good enough before they make these assumptions. There's this assumption that people will thrive in a super app as such, but let's look at our industry in the regions. I would accept that Asian customers show a different type of behavior, that they're way more tendency to super apps and trust one company and one app for many of their needs. But this super app never emerged in US and Western Europe. So I think it's a bit of an overestimation. There needs to be a bit more analysis why it's not happening.
Yeah.
And it's not happening in any industry. So why it should happen in travel? I think there's some elements of consumer behavior and psychology that is stopping this as well.
And you think that that's kind of a regional difference?
There is regional
based
difference.
on historical evidence that you're mentioning.
Particularly the internet behavior in the US and Europe starts from search. And search is almost a super app. So that, I think, puts a big blocker to this behavior. However, AI might change everything, as we know.
That's a good point. So in the piece and just now, you've talked about kind of the success of companies that have a focus. So would you see partnering with other niche providers as a way to go about, a better way to go about creating an end-to-end experience?
Absolutely.
Or is it better to just not aim for anything end-to-end at all?
No, it's a great idea to partner with companies who are very specialized in a certain part of the industry, know what they're doing, they're super focused on that, and together create a powerhouse and together create a superior customer experience.
Okay. And so you mentioned also earlier in our chat today that you've partnered with Kayak. Do you have any other partnerships that you're thinking of or coming down the pipeline that you'd like to share about?
We have partnerships with Kayak, Skyscanner, Google Flights, Vigo, any of the flight meta channels that you can think of, JetCoast as well. And we have a lot of affiliate partners, and we're just open to any partner. We're happy, but there's nothing very particular in the pipeline.
Got it. And with that in mind, and the partnerships and what we've talked about focus, even through partnerships, would you think that Oojo would remain focused on flights, or would you ever expand beyond that in a partnership capacity?
We would definitely consider expanding that on a partnership capacity. We still have a lot to do ourselves on flight area. I really love flights. There's just always so much going on, and you have to always do so much work, such as right now, as you know, the distribution models are changing and it's giving us a lot of development work. But yes, I'm totally open to partnerships with other companies who have focused on different verticals of the industry.
And as you think about what more you have to do in the flight space. Are there other technologies that are standing out to you that you'd really like to engage with, or examples of technologies that other companies have used that you find really poignant and impressive?
No, I wouldn't say I'm really impressed with anything nowadays, because actually I would say we have a lot of mess right now with NDC and the new distribution models. It's a guessing game for everyone. Airlines involved, OTAs involved. It's a guessing game and it's not going super smooth. So that is already a big work area, and ancillary as well. It's growing massively. We are working a lot on ancillaries, but again, the experience there, both on customer perspective and intermediary perspective, is not smooth. So I would say I'm not impressed with any of the technologies around. These are the areas that I'm hoping to soon see some impressive technology solutions.
Ancillaries are a really interesting area right now. It seems like so many different companies are looking to expand on offerings. Is that something that Oojo is looking to do too? Like 100%. What kinds of ancillaries are you looking to add if you don't have already?
We have a very good product called Travel Care Services. It's a bundle of service products which, when customers are traveling, they might use it for canceling, rebooking, getting superior service, and many more benefits. That is our top selling ancillary. We're going to continue enhancing that, but we will also add everything related to travel, more seat coverage, more baggage coverage, insurance. We're working with Cover Genius to add insurance. Any travel related ancillary that you can think of, we want to serve to the customers, but we don't want to overwhelm them.
Yeah.
So we will be working on the customer experience UX side very heavily too.
Got it. So as we kind of wind things down, I know we've covered a lot already. I'm curious to know what keeps you up at night about the travel industry. What's the biggest that you can't get out of your head, that kind of point?
It's predicting how AI will change our industry, and particularly what it will mean for OTAs. Because in my lifetime, I've seen a lot of technological changes, but I've never seen something being adopted this fast and developing this fast. And I'm a big believer in AI, and I really, really think in a matter of 3 years, search, travel planning, selection will move to AI interfaces. I don't think AI will move into our websites and our apps per se. I think we will need to move into AI platforms. And that is keeping me awake at night, because I realize we have to plan and make these moves now. We need to anticipate now to be able to be the first movers. So that's what's keeping me awake at night.
It's definitely something that will keep me awake at night too. So one more thing before we go. For people who are starting out in the industry, especially in this time of AI evolution and revolution, perhaps, what's your biggest piece of advice?
My biggest piece of advice is for them to not be blinded by big corporations and big brands, but I would say more like try to anticipate where the future is and try to make your bets on startups and scale-ups who have the potential.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.